Dealerships have a problem. Right now, something is happening on car dealer lots that hasn't happened in years. Brand new 2026 SUVs, tens of thousands of them, are just sitting there, not selling, not moving, just collecting dust. Dealers are desperate, buyers aren't showing up, and the numbers prove it. We analyzed Car Edge and Destination Charge data to find the 7 SUVs piling up the fastest, including one luxury SUV sitting at nearly 500 days of unsold inventory. By the time you get to number 1, you'll understand exactly why buyers are walking away. Let's go from bad to worse. Number 7. Alfa Romeo Stelvio, over 200 days of supply. On paper, the Stelvio should be untouchable. Gorgeous Italian design, one of the sharpest driving compact SUVs you can buy. Every car journalist who gets behind the wheel comes back smiling. And yet, Alfa Romeo sold just over 3,100 vehicles across its entire US lineup, all models combined, in the first half of 2025. BMW moves that many X3s in a couple of weeks. Here's where things start getting uncomfortable, because the fastest way to lose $20,000 is buying the wrong vehicle. When you spend $60,000, you're not just buying a car, you're buying peace of mind. You're buying the confidence that when something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong, the brand will stand behind you. And that's exactly where Alfa Romeo keeps failing. Consumer Reports consistently rates Alfa Romeo below average for reliability, and this is the part that should make any buyer nervous. The NHTSA recall database shows a fuel pump defect on nearly 24,000 Stelvios, causing sudden loss of drive power while moving. A rearview camera circuit board defect on over 62,000 vehicles, causing the backup image to go blank mid-reverse, and an airbag recall for a faulty seatbelt sensor that can prevent the front airbag from deploying in a crash. 3 serious safety recalls on a $60,000 vehicle. That's not an inconvenience, that's a trust collapse where trust is everything. BMW is right there. Lexus is right there. With those badges, you know exactly what you're getting. With Alfa Romeo, you're gambling. Nobody wants to gamble with $60,000. That's why the lots are full. And from here, it only gets worse. At number 6 is Land Rover Discovery, around 216 days of supply. The Discovery's problem has nothing to do with how it drives. It's about what's parked right next to it. Land Rover relaunched the Defender and the market lost its mind. Modern design, rugged credibility, cultural cool factor buyers couldn't get enough of, and the moment the Defender arrived in showrooms, the Discovery became invisible overnight. Think about what happens when a buyer walks in with $65,000 ready to spend. They see both vehicles sitting 10 feet apart. The Defender looks like it belongs on a magazine cover. The Discovery looks like it belongs on a rental lot. That is the entire problem. JLR's own data confirms it. The Range Rover Sport, and Defender together account for over 77% of all Land Rover global volumes. The Discovery scrapes together whatever's left. With total JLR North American sales already down nearly 11% year over year, the whole pie is shrinking, and the Discovery share keeps getting thinner every single quarter. The Discovery is a solid, capable 3-row SUV that does everything it's supposed to do. But in today's market, doing your job well isn't enough. You have to be the one buyers dream about. The Discovery stopped being that the moment the Defender arrived, and the inventory numbers haven't recovered since. At number 5 is Maserati Grecale, around 299 days of supply, 10 months of inventory sitting unsold, nearly a full year of buyers saying no. Maserati built the Grecale to crack the American compact luxury market and take the fight directly to Porsche and BMW. Solid plan, terrible execution. Car Edge data from late 2025 recorded just 119 Grecales sold in a 45-day window, while 685 brand new ones sat completely untouched at dealerships. And this is where the problem becomes impossible to ignore. When you spend $60,000 on a luxury SUV, you're betting on a brand, and Maserati's reliability reputation has been a serious problem in America for decades. The 2024 Grecale was recalled 6 times, issues, battery drain, sensor malfunctions, and transmission delays, all flagged by owners in the very first months of ownership. These aren't problems every Grecale owner experiences, but when a $60,000 vehicle gets 6 recalls in its first full model year, the story spreads fast, and in 2026, stories spread everywhere. Porsche Macan buyers know exactly what they're getting: proven bankability, residuals that hold up, a brand building performance cars since 1948. Maserati buyers are taking a $60,000 leap of faith. In 2026, very few people are willing to make that leap. Next is number 4, Jeep Grand Wagoneer. 350 to 400 days of supply. If you think the numbers so far are bad, this one is going to genuinely shock you. The Grand Wagoneer was Jeep's biggest swing in decades, 6-figure luxury flagship, built to challenge the Escalade and Navigator directly. Macintosh audio, Amazon Fire TV, a 75-inch display running across the cabin. Real ambition, and the reliability data is quietly destroying everything they built. Consumer Reports rates it below average for reliability. KBB owner survey data shows 47% of 2025 Wagoneer reviewers giving it 1 star out of 5. Not 2, not 3, 1. Nearly half of all buyers. The owner stories are remarkably consistent across every platform. Electrical systems misbehaving within weeks of delivery, infotainment screens freezing, random warning lights at highway speed. One owner described their car spending 3 of its first 7 months at the dealer for recurring computer faults technicians couldn't fully fix. Another reported 38 separate error codes at just 12,000 miles. The dealer called it dangerous to drive, then said parts weren't available. At $100,000, you're not experimenting. Cadillac Escalade buyers get a product refined over decades at this price point. Grand Wagoneer buyers are scheduling their 3rd service visit before finishing the first tank of gas. Brand new units are showing up on Carvana with thousands knocked off. That is not a market correction. That is a credibility crisis at the exact price point where credibility is everything. Number 3, Volkswagen ID.4. Around 471 days of supply. Quick pause. If this breakdown is useful before your next car purchase, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel. Back to it. The ID.4 is the most preventable disaster on this entire list. The concept made complete sense. Practical electric SUV, reasonable range, built in Chattanooga, Tennessee, a brand families trust. VW had every ingredient for a mainstream EV winner. And then owner confidence collapsed almost immediately after launch. Destination Charged clocked the ID.4 at approximately 471 days of supply in December 2025. A healthy vehicle sits at 60 to 90 days. The ID.4 is at 471. VW sold nearly 38,000 ID.4s in 2023. By 2024, that number had fallen to around 17,000, a 55% drop in 1 year. Early models were hit with documented recalls involving battery module defects and fire risk affecting thousands of vehicles. Charging system failures and 12-volt battery problems were officially acknowledged and addressed, but the reputation damage was already everywhere. Owner forums, Reddit, YouTube, the story spread and never went away. Then there's the software. Navigation lagging seconds behind inputs, key settings buried in slow-loading menus, controls with no backlighting so at night you're just guessing. For $50,000 competing against Tesla, it felt years behind. Meanwhile, Hyundai's Ioniq 5 was winning every award. Kia's EV6 was pulling buyers away at every single comparison. The ID.4 went from promising newcomer to cautionary tale in under 2 years. When your earliest owners become your loudest critics, the inventory math always catches up. Number 2, Jaguar F-Pace, around 239 days of supply. Jaguar used to sell 40,000 vehicles in the United States per year. By 2022, that had collapsed to under 10,000, a 75% decline in 5 years, and the F-Pace sits right at the center of that collapse. Here's where it gets really uncomfortable. RepairPal puts average annual Jaguar maintenance at $1,123 per year. The national average is around $652. That's $450 more every year just to keep the lights on. Owner forms document timing chain problems running thousands of dollars, electrical faults that return after being repaired, and an oil filter housing defect serious enough for Jaguar to issue a recall, specifically citing fire risk. The housing develops cracks that drip oil directly onto hot engine components. On a $71,000 vehicle, a fire risk recall in the first 2 years is not something buyers forget. It gets posted, shared, and it follows the brand for years. RepairPal ranks Jaguar 29th out of 32 car brands for reliability, on a vehicle starting at $71,000. A Lexus RX costs the same, ranks among the most reliable brands in the world, holds value significantly better, and costs dramatically less to maintain. Buyers at this price point do their homework. They see that comparison and walk straight into a Lexus showroom every time. And then Jaguar announced its full transition to an all-electric future, discontinuing the XE, XF, F-Type, and E-Pace. The F-Pace is now the last gas-powered Jaguar standing, while the brand publicly walks away from gas forever. Why spend $71,000 on that? The 239-day inventory number is exactly how buyers answered that question. And nothing comes close to number one. Number 1, Maserati Levante, a financial disaster dressed in Italian leather. The Levante starts at $90,000, climbs past $120,000 fully loaded. Ferrari-derived engine, hand-stitched interior, the kind of vehicle that genuinely turns heads in any parking lot anywhere. Maserati's statement that they belong alongside Porsche, BMW, and Range Rover. Then you find out what happens to the value, and the conversation changes completely. CarEdge's depreciation data shows the Levante losing between 55 and 65% of its value within 3 years. In real dollars, a $100,000 Levante is worth between $35,000 and $45,000 3 years later, over $1,500 in depreciation every single month, before interest, before insurance, before a single oil change, just gone every month. And then the service bills arrive. Ferrari-derived architecture in a daily driver means every oil change, every brake job, every repair costs a serious premium. Owners consistently describe getting their first major service quote as a cold shower nobody saw coming. Nobody ran those numbers before they signed. Most of them wish they had. The identity problem seals it completely. The Levante is priced to compete with the Porsche Cayenne, BMW X7, and Range Rover Sport. All three deliver on reliability, resale, and ownership experience. The Levante delivers the styling, then under-delivers on every practical thing that matters to someone writing a check this large. Buyers who run the depreciation math choose Porsche. Buyers chasing prestige that holds its value choose Range Rover. And the Levante ends up on used car sites at $40,000, the only price where anyone finally pays attention, because at $40,000, the depreciation disaster belongs to someone else. That's why Levantes aren't selling. Buyers aren't stupid, they've done the math, and they've already walked away. This isn't a slow seller, this is what market rejection looks like. These vehicles didn't fail because people stopped needing SUVs. They failed because buyers got smarter. And in today's market, reputation travels faster than any advertiser ever could. One bad ownership story spreads nationwide overnight. Once trust is gone at this price point, it does not come back easily. The Alfa Romeo Stelvio, the Land Rover Discovery, the Maserati Grecale, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the Volkswagen ID.4, the Jaguar F-Pace, and the Maserati Levante at number 1. Here's your silver lining if you're shopping right now. Every single one of these is a serious negotiating opportunity. When a dealer is sitting on 300, 400, even 470 days of supply they need to clear, the leverage is entirely yours. Walk in knowing these numbers and the deal changes before you even sit down. Which one shocked you the most? Or worse, are you already driving one and regretting it? Drop your story in the comments. And if this saved you from a bad decision at the dealership, hit that like button and subscribe. New videos every week. Thanks for watching.